Okay. Hello, everyone. It is Saturday night. I've lost track of time. I've lost track of... Do you see these bags under my eyes? These are the bags of a mom that has not slept in 7.5 years. Good afternoon, good evening. Hello. I'm going to wait for some of you guys to join me, and then this will actually go up online on my YouTube channel. But I have been spending obviously we are at home recuperating and relaxing and having my son sort of get acclimated back home after a very busy few days and a very so much stuff for the mama heart to feel. But I was thinking about, so I started doing some stuff about Micah. And then if you remember a couple days ago, I did this video about It's Our Life, or formerly The Rich Life, or Kendal Rich, formerly of a blog called The Father Knows Best. And I was actually brought to the attention of this by one of my subscribers who said, hey, you might want to check out this forum, this link on Free Ginger. So if you are on Free Ginger, you will notice that it started kind of as this joke about Free Ginger Duggar, right? But it covers a lot of fundies. It's a forum that's been around for a very long time. Some of the forums are active, some of them are not. It was kind of a thing before there was really a place for people to talk about this kind of stuff in an open place. Like, it was before Instagram, it was before, it's kind of like Reddit, but it's maybe, I don't know. It's one of those gossip places where you can talk and track people. Like, there's the guru gossip, there's YouTube mama drama, there's all these different forums. Well, Free Ginger was a forum that is specifically for people that follow fundies. And on my channel, we cover fundies, and it's sort of one of my specialties. And so I was surprised when I found out that someone who I had just spoken to only a couple days ago, because she claimed that she was going to speak out against 8 Passengers Ruby Frank, was Kendal Rich. And when I spoke to Kendal Rich, she was adamant that she was going to speak out about Ruby Frank because she believed that Ruby was not allowing her children to consent to being on the show. She was forcing her children to sit down and speak about all of their really bad behaviors and all the bad things that they do. And she said that what this behavior was abusive. She called for them to be canceled. She said this show needs to be canceled, right? Well, then she went on to Instagram like a couple days ago, actually last night, and said that she wasn't going to go live because she just got a message through her manager, and they told her that she couldn't talk about it because she apparently got some sort of cease and desist from Ruby's camp. So here was her video yesterday.
Hey guys, we wanted to chat with you. Daniel's here, just for a minute. Sorry, there's a lot of stuff going on over there. Kids are playing video games. Big surprise.
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to talk about a couple things. I can't say names. I'll explain why. You already know. But we had already decided not to post that video. Then all of a sudden, our manager contacts us and tells us about something, and we open up the email and realize good thing we weren't going to post that video tomorrow, because we unfortunately are not able to say anything. It was a letter from their lawyer. We'll just keep it at that. we're just gonna say.
Yeah.
Just gonna keep it simple. So
no need to really.
So yeah, as much as I want to advocate,
Back and forth with stuff
yeah, we can't go back. As much as I want to advocate and speak on behalf of, me off. As much as I want to advocate and speak on behalf of children and family bloggers, I just can't. So hope you understand. It's not how we wanted to handle.
Not necessarily that you can't. It's just that you shouldn't go down that road. That's all.
Well, we were told not to.
Yes,
and we were told there would be big
freedom of speech. There's all kind of
there is
lawyers can talk to lawyers, all that kind of thing. But it's better not to.
It's just better. We could get a lawyer, but we were threatened, with some things, and I'm like, okay, never mind.
So as you see, she was going to post this thing, and she basically says, well, right before we're going to post this, we get this message, and it's from a lawyer, and they're threatening us, and they're basically saying that you can't post this. And so she had made sort of like this very like loud Instagram only the day before, where she was going off about 8 passengers and saying that what Ruby was doing was awful, and she was going to advocate for children, and she was going to call her out about what her behavior was. And then that goes last night, and I was like, well, that's weird. How do you change so fast? Like, how do you flip that fast, right? Like, a lot of people are speaking out about Ruby from 8 passengers. A lot of people are calling what she's doing terrible. They think that the way that she's exploiting her children is awful. Large channels have been calling her out, like big ones, because of her video where she admitted that she took her son's bed away for 7 months. So I thought it was sort of odd that someone who is also a YouTuber would claim they can't talk about them, right? So I reached out to her and I was like, well, that's weird. Why would you get a cease and desist? Like, I did a video about them and I didn't get a cease and desist. Like, why would somebody get a cease and desist over that? Well, I'm not doubting that might have happened, but then I started, like, my subscriber sent me a message and was like, you really need to look onto Free Ginger. So I was on Free Ginger and I was like looking at it, and she used to host a blog called The Father Knows Best, and she gave a lot of really questionable advice to people and talked about her parenting. But it was some of the parenting stuff in here that was really concerning and might be more of a cue into why she actually isn't going to speak out, because she's kind of a hypocrite. This was actually a blog that she wrote on her website. It was called A Glimpse of Faith, and she talks about how she is her husband is disciplining her kids all day long. And when she's talking about discipline, she's talking about SPANKING. I'm going to try to keep this clean. And she says that her husband was doing this all day, and they were doing this because of bad behavior, and that they've had this many times. And then some of you guys were like, well, I don't see that. Where did she say that? So I did this one, and she says, my daughter, after a day of discipline, I don't have to be so secretive. Yes, I am talking about SPANKING, and she wasn't wounded or discouraged, but she was thankful for that she was loved so much that by her father, that he wouldn't let her continue on the wrong path. And she said, Daddy, I'm so, like, she literally says that her 6-year-old daughter, Evie, who's now a teenager, stopped her dad when he was doing this and said, thank you so much for doing this to me. Daddy, I love you, and thank you for training me.
No, didn't happen.
So I was like, yikes. Well, when you have that kind of skeleton in your closet, maybe you're not the advocate for children that you're pretending to be on Twitter and being so fake outraged. And I called her out in a video, not like badly, but sort of criticized the fact that when the stuff happened with Micah, she was really calm about it, but she was so outraged about Ruby. And it's like, how are you so outraged about Ruby, but you're not about Micah? And now this comes out, And this is all, you can find her previous links. Now, the blog no longer exists, but the internet is forever. And Free Ginger, like, they have a lot of quotes in here where, you know, one of the reasons why her blog went down was that one of the last blogs she ever wrote was she told parents that they don't need to use bike helmets. There was no reason for a child to wear a bike helmet, and that really upset people. You know, no childproof lids, no kids had, you know, we slept in cribs with lead paint. You know, we got daddy's belt when we misbehaved. We had 3 channels. We had no video games. Like, the stuff that she sort of, we go on bike rides and we don't wear it. Now, before you call CPS, did you ever wear a helmet when you were a child? No, you didn't, and you're alive to tell about it. It's true, we don't require our children to wear bike helmets. There's no real reason behind it. We just don't, except for in some states it's actually illegal for a child to ride a bike without a bike helmet, and a parent can get in trouble for that. And it was interesting because shortly after this post, she deletes her full blog, and then she goes into the process of actually adopting Hampton, who is her 8.5-year-old son who she adopted. And that's why she was speaking out against Micah. Interestingly, she did a massive fundraiser on her social media in order to adopt Hampton, and Hampton has disabilities. Like, here's one, is my oldest daughter begs to take care of her younger brother. I was hesitant at first, but I decided to go ahead and let her do what her heart desired. She can change his diaper, but put him down for a nap and feed him. She does with such joy and excitement. It's precious. Other things that they quoted from her, my wonderful husband turned to me, figuratively that is. He asked a simple question that has changed the course of our life forever. He asked, why are you doing all the cleaning and not getting your girls, the future homemakers, to help? I don't know. Why aren't I? So yeah, that really happened. And then she shuts her blog down because she claims that, like, you know, God has told her that she needs to not do this anymore. She privates her Twitter shortly after the post about the bike helmets. She has, you know, she doesn't let her children, she forces her children to eat whatever is on their plates. Lazy parenting is an epidemic. It's ultimately hurting our children. We can't seem to figure out why it's such a problem for today's modern family. Maybe that's just the problem, our modern thinking. We like to use all kinds of modern psychobabble that validates our child's behavior, which got me interested. These are the kinds of things that I feel like it's always ironic that these are the kinds of statements that are being made by bloggers or people in the fundy world. It's like they're bitching about the modern world, and yet they're benefiting from the modern world by typing this out on a blog and then telling people that we shouldn't wear bike helmets. You know, sleeping in a crib with lead paint is no big deal. You know, women have been lured into believing that submission is somehow humiliating. It does not bestow second-class status. A fearful woman will have a very hard time submitting to her husband. A fearful woman isn't actively trusting God with her life, which makes entrusting a man with your future nearly impossible. Submission to Christ frees a woman from the rest in God, character, and provision, and her delivered through her husband. When submissive women are portrayed as stunted or limited in their freedom, they are being lied about. Submission is a safe place of protection where we are able to express our gifts and creativity for the glory of God and the benefits of our marriage. It's so odd to see this because this is the same woman that is literally on TikToks now doing booty dances with her daughters and just like doing anything for fame. Like, how do you go from writing this stuff about submissive women to she's Christian, from what I can tell. So, and then from her this is when she said, here's the gist: sometimes the Lord requires us to speak, and sometimes the Lord requires us not to speak. I'm in need of a season of less speaking and more listening, if that makes sense. Listening to the Lord, that is. So she, after posting all this stuff about backlash, she closes down the blog. but on her Instagram on her Facebook after she closes down the blog, she still is, sharing this kind of stuff, like embracing your role as a wife and mom for what it is, basically like being a homemaker. When somebody actually gives her feedback, because she has these charts for behavior, they talk to her about potentially using, positive reinforcement versus discipline. And she says, it's black and white in our house. We SPANK, that's it. That's all. That's the story. She's pro guns. She's rejoicing in being a housewife. This one was like, you may teach your child many things, but if you have not broken his self-will, you have failed him. So apparently she's of that belief that you need to break a child's will in order for you to actually be a good parent. And then sickening stories about her basically saying that we should not be recognizing a student's preferred pronoun. So it always surprises me when people are this sort of hypocritical, where they will come out and like, listen, like all of us have things from our past, and if she's grown and learned from this, that would be one thing. But only like a few weeks ago, she's posting about how COVID is like not a thing, and we're gonna get it anyway. And she's posting about how she's not gonna wear a mask, and she's just gonna deal with it because we've had viruses forever.
Hey guys, a little quick 60-second story time rant. I could probably talk a lot longer than 60 seconds, but we're going to end the shaming over here on my account, on anybody else's. We're going to stop the non-mask shaming wearers. We're going to stop the shaming people for going out. Our state is open. We're not in quarantine. We're doing great. Our COVID deaths are on the decline. ICU cases on the decline. Our hospitals are empty. So we're doing good. We're moving on with life. I'm choosing not to be afraid. I'm choosing to move forward in a world that isn't perfect and in a world that is full of viruses. They exist. They're never going anywhere. Okay? So stop the shaming. End it. You're going to be blocked on my account. I'm doing what is appropriate. You do you. I'd like for you to also to look up the stats on suicide.
So her like argument is that, being at home is causing a lot of mental illness. And so she's not going to go out and wear a mask, which at this point, most states are suggesting that even if you're out with social distancing. She also doesn't believe that social distancing is a real thing. She thinks that it's a made-up number by the government. I just find all of this really interesting because this contradicts all the information that we know about this virus. I'm just saying that like her views have not really changed a whole lot. That and I'm wondering, like, this is someone who is the ironic part of this to me is that yesterday when I was speaking to her, a couple days ago when I was speaking to her, I made a point to bring up the Weiss family because I've noticed on the Weiss family that a lot of their videos related to adolescent girls going shopping for bras and putting together kits for their time of the month. And on one of the videos, the mom is going through and showing different garments, undergarments that you can wear for young girls. And the dad on the Weiss Life is like, ooh, a VBar. Yeah, girls use the VBar, and it's like, this is like the kind of stuff that's on YouTube. And some of you guys were like, okay, we need to normalize this kind of stuff. But at the same time, like, is this really appropriate for YouTube? And is it appropriate for the dad to be saying that to the girls? And knowing the kind of people that are probably watching these videos, it's just an interesting take. And so, I brought that up to Kendal and I was like, well, there's some channels that are doing all of these videos on these kits that have, undergarments in them and bars and, different bath washes and different ways to keep yourself clean. And it's like, she's like, oh, please, I did one of those too. So she did one of those on those, but then 7 years ago, she was not willing to talk about that kind of stuff. So how do you go from that belief system to openly like talking about that time of the month on YouTube? And all you have to do is write period kit on YouTube and you'll get so many of these videos. And I didn't even know these were a thing, because come on, you guys, like, it's not that it's not a thing. It's not a thing. Like, you bring your stuff and you go on about your day. It's not that big of a deal. It happens to every woman. It's not that serious. I don't know that, promoting these different companies that offer these things, it's just odd to me. And it's odd that you would put your teenager in that sort of situation, because that video is then forever, right? And I don't know, it doesn't sit right with me. I could be completely wrong. I could be completely off. Some of you said it was wrong. Others of you found value in it. This channel is not a place for me to always have my own opinions. It's obviously just me saying, okay, I don't feel good about this, but I want to know how you feel. What are your thoughts? So it's kind of sad to me that it seems as though Kendal has changed so dramatically. A V-bar, think of what a V-bar is. Think of what a V is on a woman's body. And then think of a bar that would clean the V. That's what a V-bar is. And then a dad talking to his daughters about a V-bar. It's weird. While also zooming in on undergarments that they can wear. So, yeah. It's just, I just think it's, okay, so she immediately shuts up saying that she got the cease and desist. But maybe partly this has to do with what's in her past and what's on her page. And, like, can you really be an advocate for children when this is the stuff that's on your channel? Can you really be an advocate for children when you are talking about these kits and doing stuff on shopping for, stuff for your daughters? I mean, how do you go from a woman should submit and be submissive to completely the polar opposite? Did money completely skew this? And what about the boundaries for the child? Why? I think of it this way, like on TV, where you can actually watch programming specifically made for children and for teens, you wouldn't see this kind of stuff. You would not see this kind of programming for a teenager, period. They wouldn't be talking about this kind of stuff. It's just not even, it's not appropriate for the TV. It's not appropriate for public the airwaves, but somehow if we mask it as it's a learning opportunity for teenagers, and how else are they going to learn about it, and we put it on YouTube, and then we use the children as the vehicle to send this message, when you can't even tell me that a bulk of the people that are watching this are fill in the blank. The kind of people that are watching those videos. And they'll argue and say, well, you can't control the people that are watching those videos. Yeah, you can control what you put out, knowing that the target market for a video like that is going to reach that specific population. That concerns me. But that's just me. And there are no guidelines. And these videos get a lot of views. So obviously they know I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a lot of views. I'm going to post this. But why are those videos getting a lot of views? Do you think there's this many kids that are watching that to learn about it? Who do you think is watching those videos? Parents shouldn't be able to include children under 18 in their videos, period. I just don't think you should be able to monetize your child and monetize your child's life and their puberty for your financial benefit. And then the other question I had for her was, what about your kids? Your kids literally are the focus of your channel. you are some sort of teen channel with your teen girls. And I'm thinking about, I'm sorry, I just saw that comment and I'm not going to comment. I'm not going to comment. Okay. Her kids are her content. She doesn't have content really of her own. She doesn't have a platform beyond her kids being her content. So Bellanne says that's an anatomy class and should be talked about between family or a short class in school in an educational way. I didn't know people make videos like that. They do, and they make a lot of videos about that. And Kendal said she does it because she needs to be transparent and she needs to be educational. Well, your channel is not an educational channel, it's an entertainment channel. So I didn't know that you were educating kids about this thing. And so can you really draw the line in the sand and say what Ruby's doing is bad, but what you're doing isn't bad? And as I started speaking and hearing from you guys when I did my video about her, listen, I have nothing against this woman. She was nice to me when I interacted with her, but I'm saying, like, in comments, all the people said that they didn't watch her anymore. She's too clickbaity. She's always doing things that are so sensationalized. She's got a bad reputation, and she's changed her channel so many different times because she's chasing money, or people thought she was a hypocrite. So I am all for women feeling good about that, and young girls feeling good about that, but I just can't see how there is anything valid in doing this on YouTube, my opinion. But regardless, these are my opinions, and that doesn't mean I'm going to say you cancel the whatever. But then I also noticed as I was on YouTube Mama Drama, which is another forum, talking about how that channel's views are really down. And so one of the things that's happening with family vloggers right now is their views are down. Their comments have been turned off. They don't get the same benefits because kids are involved with their shows. A lot of them are cutting out the younger kids because they don't want young kids to watch. It's affecting their views in the algorithm. They're not making as much money as they are. And so I feel like they're going to start to do things to draw more attention, to try to have more outrageous teen content, which is just towing the line at what's appropriate versus inappropriate. So these are my thoughts. And I want to thank you for joining me tonight. And I'm not going to address anything related to anybody else. And I hope you guys have a really good night. But I think the reason why she didn't speak out is because there's too many skeletons in her closet. And the internet is forever. And you can't say someone is doing something wrong when you are contributing to the problem and unwilling to accept your responsibility in all of this. So thank you to all of my new subscribers. Thank you to everyone that has been following me. I'm not going to address anything that's happening with anything related to any legal situations that I'm involved in, nor any other YouTubers that have things to say about me, because it's a free world and people don't have to like me. But we're going to hit 100K soon, and I am so grateful for all of you, and I'm going to put this video on YouTube. Bye, guys.